Hello, children of the night. Evil Adam here, coming to you from Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Howl Scream 2025. Mad Matt couldn't be with me tonight because he's out stopping an evil robot from coming back through time and taking out the leader of the resistance. But I'm here, and we're going to find out what these houses are like, what these zones are like. I'm going to bring you some footage, so stay tuned. Hello, children of the night. Welcome back to Blood and Guts, HHN, HauntOvision. With me, as always, Mad Matt. How's it going, Matt?
As usual, I'm doing fantastic, Evil Adam, because any night where we get to talk about haunts, whether I've been to them or not, I'm excited. So it did suck that I didn't get to go, but man, I was happy you got to go. Where was it you went?
I went to Busch Gardens Howl Scream at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Oh,
and let me tell you,
big fish.
It was great. And, you know, I went in with low expectations to no expectations because I've never been to Howl Scream before, so I really didn't know what to expect.
Right.
But lo and behold, I walked out really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I really love this event, and I got to do the coasters at night, got to do the houses, got to do the zones, and I'm going to break those down for you just a little bit here. I've made some notes for you. Some of the zones we had, Bavarian Bloodshed. Mm-hmm. Which was, you know, each little area in Busch Gardens, Williamsburg was themed to Europe.
Right.
So, you know, your opening theme was Ripper Row. Ooh. So it's all London, Jack the Ripper times.
You had like a Hammer horror kind of feel there.
It had, exactly. It had a Hammer horror feel. And so the first zone, Ripper Row, was in London, and it was just exactly what you think. It's Jack the Ripper, it's prostitutes, it's murdered, you know, victims. It was great.
It's a fun time.
It was a good time. It was great. All lit with blue light and kind of real creepy. Then you had Stalker Street. That was a really good one. And all the characters were great. The makeup, the costumes, everything had a really good budget. You know, I didn't know what to expect. Like, are we going to get like a Spirit Halloween costume? Actually, no. We're going to get a budget on these.
Yeah, that's what I could tell. Like whenever you first got there, it hadn't been maybe an hour or two during the event. You said you wouldn't believe the budget, the money they put into this. This is great stuff.
Yep, and they're using Froggy Fog, same fog as HHN. As soon as that first fog machine popped at 6 o'clock, I walked up and, you know, of course, children of the night, I had a good smell of that fog, and I was like, "This is Froggy Fog from HHN." So it took me right back to our beloved horror nights.
Right.
And a couple more zones. We had the Wicked Wonderland, which was a twisted Christmas. You had an evil Krampus in there. You had all the evil gingerbread men, and another great zone. You had Disc Grotesque, which is a play on discotheque, and that was your dancing zone. I actually have footage of the characters would form groups and dance to the music.
Nice.
And it was really cool. This was a zone that was kind of like the Club Horror at Horror Nights, but with a lot more makeup and a lot more characters that would actually dance and interact with you and then break off, interact, come back and dance.
Right.
So that was just really cool. I hadn't seen anything like this. You know, so I walked in there and was like, oh, shit, we got some music. Oh, this is good. And just a good zone overall. And then we had Bavarian Bloodshed, which was your crazy stalkers and killers.
Yeah.
And just a really, really good zone.
Yeah.
I mean, just the masks were, and these actors were on point. They were, I mean, I would film an actor on the left, and as soon as I would turn with the camera on the right, there would be another actor right in my face.
Now, as far as these zones that you're mentioning, were you going like as in a ranking style for like worst to first, or is it just however you're walking into them?
It's just however we're walking into them.
Okay.
Like the Ripper Row, the Jack the Ripper zone, happens to be when you first come into Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, you're in the London section. So unfortunately, that is the zone's downfall, is unless you go all the way back to the front of the park,
you're going to miss this zone.
Right,
Or
makes
if you're
sense.
leaving the park, you'll catch it. But that's the only real downfall of that zone. So it just happens to be what area you were in is what the zones are.
Well, what's your Evil Adam's favorite zone at Williamsburg?
My favorite zone has to be either the Stalker Street or the Bavarian Bloodshed, because
Nice.
those were the two heavy zones.
That makes sense. Knowing you makes perfect sense.
They had pumpkins lining the trees. They had pumpkins up like scarecrows that were all
so
lit
had
up.
the Halloween vibes.
Had those Halloween vibes. Had that smoke. Had that fog. Had that just real crisp night, October, November air going on. You know, I loved it. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and talk about the houses as I rank them. We're going to go from 5 to 1.
Okay.
5 being my least favorite. 1, of course, being my favorite. So let's go ahead and start with number 5, the 5th house on my ranking, Clown Town. Now, you know,
I could have guessed that.
every haunt from here to Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon has a clown theme, house of some kind.
Right.
Now, I think that personally, some of the ones in North Carolina that we've been to, Woods of Terror, Lake Hickory, some of those other ones,
Done really well.
really well with clowns. This one was okay. This one was just what you expect. A lot of neon, a lot of bright glow paint, a lot of clowns, you know, characters dressed as crazy clowns coming out at you. And, you know, I'm desensitized to clowns. They don't bother me.
Right.
So, therefore...
You got a Pennywise doll you sleep with every night. You're good.
That's right. And so this is fine. Clown Town, it's a suitable house.
Now, in the houses, is it more geared like Scare Winds where if they want to, they can play jazz with you, mess with you, or is it more like HHM where they got predetermined audio?
Some of them have that. Some of them can interact with you as much as they want to. Some of them can stalk you through the house. I really like that aspect of it. Some of them can just spout gibberish and interact with you. I really enjoy this about the houses. But Clown Town, number 5. Number 4 was the new house, Werewolves, Wolf's Revenge is the name of the house.
Werewolf, you got that low. Now, I love werewolves, man, so I got to hear why.
So, let me tell you, children of the night, the build up to this house is awesome. You're walking quite a distance through the forest. They have the forest lined with red lights and trees. They have the sounds of the werewolf in the background to kind of amp you up. And you get up. So the whole plot of the house is something like a military facility has captured werewolves to experiment on them. And now they've escaped. They're wreaking havoc in the facility.
Right.
So you're already got this amped in your head. You're already ready for this thing. You go through the forest, you're like, it's nighttime. You got a little moon up there, kind of building the tension. You get into the house, and for me, the house was actually a little bit of a letdown, just a little bit. It was too bright. There weren't a lot of werewolves in the house. It was mostly human victims, you know, and they, you know, had various forms of makeup and masks and stuff like that, which was cool. But I wanted more werewolves, and I wanted there to be less brightness. The house was actually really, really bright. And for me, I wanted to see more red lights. I wanted to see more of a like security alarm, like get out, T-minus 25 until explosion.
You want that Resident Evil countdown?
I want that countdown. I want that tension in the house. Like, we got to get the hell out of here. Something's not right.
Right.
And it didn't give me that. Now, had the whole house been as good as the build-up,
right,
that would have been awesome. But it just didn't live up for it for me. So that's why I got it down here at number 4. The third house on the list, Deathwater Bayou. Now, this house was a long house. This house took you inside and outside, and then back inside, and then back outside, and over on and rinse and repeat.
Right.
So it felt like you were in a swamp. It was a voodoo bayou.
Right.
You know, so you got your voodoo queen. You have all your voodoo dolls with the pins and needles sticking out of them. You have like jars of eyeballs and stuff that we like, you know.
Have good smells?
Some of them were okay, some of them not so much. I didn't notice a lot of smells in the houses, actually. But this one was pretty cool as far as, and it was by the water. So they did this one by the water. So you actually felt like you were in the voodoo queen's swamp hut, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And but it's also still very generic. You know, there's a lot of haunts that do a voodoo queen, voodoo layer kind of.
Yeah, Woods of Terror comes to mind. I know, but
Woods of Terror, they really nail it.
Yeah, so theirs is well done.
They really nail it. They actually build all their stuff. So, but this one was okay. It was okay, you know. As far as like scares go, I'll give it 3 out of 5 Goldblums, just to kind of give you an idea of the scares in this one. So that falls at number 3 for me. But my number 2 house was such a pleasant surprise, and it's called Bloodshot. And so the theme of this house is vampires, ancient vampires, have been living here in this cave, and they've taken over a bar. And they've been drinking human blood for a long time, but now the human blood's running out, and you're coming in to the house. So guess whose blood they're going to be drinking now?
Yeah.
So
like a mix between From Dusk Till Dawn and Daybreakers.
pretty much, it's what it was. And they actually do this house in the bottom of the Escape from Pompeii water ride, which is that classic water ride that's themed to the mythology. Mm-hmm. So as you walk in, you're walking over the water.
Right.
You're walking over this. You see these ancient ruins. And then you go into the house, and so you really are feeling like the first thing it did remind me of was Dusk Till Dawn.
Right.
So you come in the house, they're playing songs like Rebel Rebel by David Bowie. They're playing The Stones' Paint It Black. They're playing all these good old school tunes like you were in a dive bar.
Right.
And as you go through the house, it does seem very much like you're in a ancient, like not a pyramid like Dusk Till Dawn, but in an ancient Greek or Roman Colosseum or something. And then you come into the bar area, and then you go into the bathroom, and then you go into another room in the back where there's a slaughterhouse where they're slaughtering the humans, drinking their blood. This house was really well done, and I had a great time just dancing through the house to the music. Uh-huh. So I definitely think, as far as like if I ranked it on a Goldblum scale, it would be 4 out of 5 Goldblums for the house itself, and a pretty good budget. I didn't know what kind of budget to expect going into this.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, I'm like you. I wouldn't know exactly for the houses, but I know like whenever we were doing like our park day down in Tampa, and you could see the Scare Zone sets. We didn't get to do the event.
Right.
Those sets down there looked amazing.
Yeah, and this had a really surprisingly, really, really damn good budget. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just because they're using the inside of that ride itself, that makes for a lot of the facade and immersion and sets. So that part was really, really well done. And so this is my number 2 house, and you could even flip-flop my number 1 and 2 because I had just as good a time in number 1, which is Killarney Diner Condemned. So this one, Children of the Night, you're going through a diner, and it's a 1950s diner. So you're coming in through the back, through the meat locker. You're coming in. Eventually, you get into the diner portion, and it's all 1950s out. We're talking about checkered tiles. We're talking about pink countertops, but there's bugs, there's cockroaches. Some of the people are turning into bugs. So imagine the house from Horror Nights, Bugs Eaten Alive, meets the 1950s. And they're playing all those old 50s doo-wop songs that you like, all those good hits. They're playing that as you go through the house. And then it even comes to one part where you come outside the house and you're in a town square. Mm-hmm. And it's all 1950s theme. They had a TV shop. So they had these big windows with black and white TVs playing cartoons. They had an old front of a Cadillac that would sit there. You know the horn scare when you come around, the horn goes off and scares you?
Yeah.
They had an old part of a front of a Cadillac sitting there from the 50s that the horn would get you.
Right.
You had like a flower shop. So you really feel like you're in a 1950s town square. And a lot of the characters were, part flies, part human. You can see them in mid-bug transformation. So this diner's been serving some freaky food for a long time.
Right.
And you just happen to be in the middle of it. And it was such a good set and such a good feel in this house. That is my actual number 1 house. And as far as the event goes overall, just a great, great event. Like I said, I went in with low expectations. I didn't know what to expect, actually. Mm-hmm. And it just really, really surprised me how awesome this event was.
So you're saying that you definitely would do this again and you highly recommend?
I would give this whole event 5 Goldblums out of 5 Goldblums. Yep, that's how much I would do it again. And I'm talking about there are parts in this park where you're walking through the trees and there's sound effects going off. Maybe it's not a particular scare zone, but even in the parts that are not a scare zone, they still do theming. Right. So there's not a dead zone. So even as I'm walking through the trees, you got these like crazy red lights and purple lights shining on the trees with all these sound effects playing, just to freak you out. So it was just such a great event. And I was just really pleasantly surprised. I would totally do it again, and I wish you could have been there. I know that you were fighting crime that night, and you couldn't be there.
Yeah.
And I did do an intro for the show while I was in the event.
Had you a cold opening?
Had a cold opening, so we'll drop that in, somewhere in this video here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely give it 5 Goldblums.
Nice. So there you have it, friends and fiends. Evil Adam took a trip up to Williamsburg, Virginia to their Howl Scream, and it was 5 Goldblums. So did you go to that event? Let us know in the comments. What was your favorite house?
Yep, and if you did go, just definitely let us know, because it's my first time experiencing it. I would totally go back.
Yeah.
So, and as always, remember, happy haunt season and stay spooky.